Hi, this is Connor from Omni. Omni's BI platform enables something we like to call just-in-time data modeling, which is data modeling that happens as you're exploring and analyzing data rather than data modeling in a siloed process before or after your analysis. This provides you the flexibility to get answers fast while still creating reusable, governed metrics for your team. And I'd love to show you how this works in Omni. So let's say you're looking into your company's revenue over time. You might start by going to your orders table, grabbing the total revenue column, and then grouping that by month to see that trend. I'll add a sort here, pop open the chart view, and Omni started with a line chart, but I'll make that a bar chart to see that a little bit easier. It looks like revenue is doing well. It's up and to the right. We always like to see that. But we probably want to know a little bit more here. Like, why is revenue changing? For example, is revenue being driven by users placing their first orders this month? Is it users who have already been customers for a while? It'd be helpful to cohort our users somehow, maybe by the month that they first placed their order, to see who's driving these changes in revenue. To get those cohorts, we'd need to take a few steps, starting by taking the user ID per order and grabbing their minimum order date, saving that as a query view or CTE somewhere in our data warehouse, and then joining that back to our main orders table or your orders topic. None of those steps are particularly hard or complex, but if you have to drop down to your data warehouse, to dbt, to your semantic layer, deal with pull requests, merging, permissions, all of that, it can slow you down to just see those insights. And you're not even sure if those insights will be good yet. You just want to see the results first, and then decide if you want to make that a real piece of your data model. And that's what we mean by just-in-time data modeling, and that's what we set up Omni to be able to do. So in Omni, this flow ends up being quite lightweight. So I'm going to start us off with a blank canvas here. I'm going to grab the user ID. I'm going to use a quick aggregation to get the first order date per user. And with that, I'm going to use Omni's save query as view flow. So what this lets us do is create sort of a temporary table in our semantic layer in Omni that you can reference just like any other table that you're pulling from your data warehouse. I'll give that a name. We'll call it user first order facts. And now that we have that table, Omni is going to be really intelligent. It knows that we created this table based on the user ID field from order items. And so it's going to automatically recognize that join for us here. Now I'm going to just quickly add it to our topic so we can pull from it. There we go. And now we can sort of create that same table, but add this additional layer of the user's first order. So I'm going to grab our total revenue column again, grab the month, and then I'm going to add from this new table we just created the month that the user had first placed their order. If we flip back to the chart view, we can see the total revenue per month, but broken out by when the users first placed their orders. And we can see that we generally do a pretty good job of retaining users over time, but most revenue is driven by new customers. So the cool thing here is that we've been doing all of this work in a workbook sandbox. No one else is going to see it unless I share it with them. It's a complete safe zone. It's not going to interrupt anyone else's work. But this sort of thing might be useful to others. So to make it accessible to others when they're doing their own analysis, we can promote it to the shared model, Omni's shared semantic layer. That way other people can access it when they're doing their own analysis. So I'm going to pop open our workbook model changes section here. I'm going to hit promote to shared. And if I pop open a new workbook here, we'll see that that table doesn't show up quite yet, but if I hit refresh, we'll see that user first order facts table will come in here. So anybody who's starting a net new analysis has access to that table. If we want to harden this into our data model even further, we can actually push this table also down to dbt. So I'm going to go back to our original tab. I'm going to hit preview to pull that table open. And then in Omni, I'm going to hit model, push to dbt. I'll give that new model a name. We'll call that user first order facts. I'll hit save. And what this is going to do is open up a pull request in our Git repo. From there, you can use whatever CI/CD process that your organization has set up to create that new dbt model. And you can see that SQL that Omni is generating and going to use to create that dbt model down here. So hopefully this flow helps show you that with just-in-time data modeling, you can create your data model as you're building in your BI tool, instead of doing it in a separate process. That's what Omni was built to enable. Fast, intuitive data modeling that meets you where you are, while still being able to promote it to the rest of your organization.